This is our 4-day series, Write With Me, for approximately the 201 levels. Today is going to be very beginner focused. We're going to work on getting our story plotted, getting everything into the brain dump and synopsis, and refining things, getting all those details in there. Tomorrow, a lot's going to depend on how much we get done today, on how far we get tomorrow, whether we're finishing the boxes or if we're going to start with beats and everything else. The last couple of days, we will do more of a focus on actually refining everything and how you can get your output perfect or as perfect as you can, and seeing what's wrong with it and learning how to fix things. I have Q&A here. At any time during any of these days, if you have a question, please ask. I love it when y'all are interactive. You can raise your hand if you want. You can type things in chat. You can unmute and ask. The only thing I do ask is if you have some background noise, people coming in the room talking to you or TV on or something like that, after you ask your question, please mute yourself again, because that does get distracting to everyone. Does anybody have any questions on how this will go on these 4 days? Like I said, today's going to be very beginner focused. If you've been in a 201 already, you're going to know that, but the point is for us to actually work through these boxes together. I don't want anybody left behind in these. So these are the story starters that I worked with Chat to get. At the end of this 4 days, I want you to have a very solid grasp of using Story Bible so that here on out, you're more or less focusing on refining your own personal process. You'll have all the basics down by the end of this 4 days. That's my hope for everything. For those who don't have it, I am going to share this. That includes the prompts that I like to use. I think a lot of y'all had it the other day, but there you go. So again, feel free to ask questions. Tell me if you need me to slow down. Tell me if you're having trouble with a certain box or something, and we will work together on that. You get this copied over. And we are going to get started here. Get my chat box out of the way. It's always going to be in the way. You'll see me sliding it back and forth.
Can I ask you one question? Why is it called Story Engine on my system? I just got it a couple of days ago, and Story Bible on yours.
So Story Bible is the new name for Story Engine. That's it. All the boxes still work the same, but when you get the Story
Bible,
so they
just haven't updated it on all the systems yet.
Right. It's in the fine. They expect probably the next week or so, everybody's going to have it. Right now, it's still kind of, the final testing and everything. This is the difference. You got a vertical scroll versus Story Engine is a horizontal scroll. And now we no longer have to click into another screen. It's just right here, and we toggle it on and off as needed.
When you got access to Story Bible, did all of your existing projects go pretty smoothly, or was there any issues? Is there anything like that we should anticipate?
I wanted to show y'all one, but of course I have a bunch of dirty projects. That's another reason I want to use that fantasy. I'm keeping it clean for everybody. So yeah, if you have Story Engine content, actual chapters and everything, first of all, your boxes will pre-populate with this information here. And then all of these, any chapters that you have with beats and prose, you'll see them populate the first time you open that project after you have the new user interface. It'll say Story Engine chapter, whatever, for each of them.
Okay.
There are some issues, and this is just recently I noticed, where my beats weren't showing up for those chapters. The prose was there underneath, but my beats were gone. They have been able to restore that for me whenever I let them know what project that happened on. And 99% of the time, if something, ends up missing, a lot of times they can get that back for you.
Yeah.
Who is the they that can get that back for you?
The staff, the developers and everything.
So who do you call or text?
You can email hi@sudowrite.com. Let me put that in chat real quick for you.
Email.
Oops. There we go. That email right there. You can also What you'll want to do is click your URL up here for that project that you're missing stuff in. Click that URL and copy it. You could come over here to your question mark, click report a bug, and it'll let you email them, and you could copy in that project, say, hey, this project is missing beats. And they can go in through that URL and find everything for you. All right. Is there anyone here who only uses Sudowrite? You don't use Claude or ChatGPT or anything?
Yeah, I do.
You only use Sudowrite?
I'm only using Sudowrite
Okay. Even for planning and stuff like that?
so far. I'm pretty,
Okay. It's
I'm
not
pretty
bad. Yeah. So whenever I started out, I only used Sudowrite too. So I would put everything in my brain dump and then start modifying the boxes. And that's really good for beginners. But y'all see that in all of our other, 101s and 201s. That's the exact process y'all see us do then. I wanted to offer you something different so that as you start refining things, you know exactly what to do in ChatGPT or whatever AI you want to go into. So you're free to do it either way. I am going to show you my method that works for me so that y'all can pick and choose what y'all like, what y'all don't like. I'm just going to put that story thing here just so I don't end up losing it. So we can start easy. Like I said, in our normal 201s, I would just put this in here, put my genre in, generate synopsis, and start going through editing things. However, I am going to show y'all how I do things in chat so that I come in with more of a story right away, because this is a brand new story for me. I have no idea how I want this to go, but I know I want to have more control than just these couple of sentences. And I don't want to use, there's no reason for me to use my words when I already know I'm going to have to make a lot of improvements. Does that make sense? If I generate my synopsis and I don't like half of it, well, oh, well, I use those words. I'm not going to get them back just because I don't like half of them. So that's what I wanted to show y'all today is some ways you can start at a bit of a higher level, more detailed level. And you can do it in ChatGPT 3.5. I have 4, I pay for 4, but 3.5 is free. Somebody correct me if that's changed.
Let's just point out that ChatGPT 4 is available through Microsoft Edge for free.
Oh, well, that's pretty neat.
Yeah, they do it with the Bing search, Bing like a customer service system, and it's ChatGPT 4.
I want to, let me find, just in case y'all want to sign up for an account. Oh, it's going to sign me in. That link
Full
should
disclosure, I don't work for Microsoft.
Thank you, Writing Magic. Just want to confirm that. Okay, so I'm going to be using 4, but you can definitely use this in the free version. I like 4 because as a friend showed me when we made comparisons with the same prompt and story, 4 was a little bit more specific with the stuff. Instead of giving some vague ideas, it got more specific. So I really like it. But there is the ChatGPT link if you want to create an account to work in the free version. And if anybody is doing that, wants me to hold off, just say so or type it in chat, whatever. I'm going to, let me copy this again since I changed it. What I learned from a friend, from Ryan Rivers, his videos are awesome. They're in the course videos channel. I recommend watching his stuff if you're a beginner. And he goes from beginning to advanced.
What's his name?
Ryan Rivers. So what I learned from him was to kind of prime the AI. Normally, in my old ways before I learned that from him, I would just jump in with exactly what I needed. Well, he showed, to treat it kind of like how a funnel works. You start with this more broad topic that's still related to your story, but yet you narrow it down to you get to your actual questions that you wanted to ask. So for right now, I am going to start off. I know that I want this story right here to be a YA fantasy. So I'm just going to put it in here. So I'm going to start broad like that versus going directly to my story. And I like to use my manners. Y'all, please don't laugh at me. I always joke, if they take over the world, I want them to remember that I'm nice and I can be trained. So I'm just going to tell it. I am writing a young adult fantasy novel. And then I'm going to ask it, what are some elements that need to be included in my story to meet reader expectations? I'm going to say expectations for this genre. And what this does is just give me some extra ideas to think about. So I might see something here and I'm like, oh, I like that, especially when it comes to the style and everything. This is my favorite. Fantasy, first of all, is my favorite thing to read. And it's because of the normally diverse cast that's, in the fantasy books. That's it for me. So I know I want that in my story. I could say, let's see. I'm just looking real quick through it. Another thing I can do is, you can always ask it, are there more? I'm not going to do that for this session because then we have to wait for it to generate again. But every time you ask it a question, it gives you a list like this. You can always say, or are there more? Here you go.
Someone is asking for your GPT prompt.
Yep. There you go. And I will, I'll start putting everything in here. And if y'all remind me at the end of class, I can give you this updated version of this story starter prompt thing. Okay, so there's a couple of different ways. If I were new to this, I might still want to go in, okay, what are some dialogue styles for this? What are some writing styles? What are some different elements that I need? In this case, I'm actually going to get started on plotting my story. And then after it has my story, then I'm going to start asking it for those elements. So let me see if there's anything in here I don't like. Protagonist. I don't really care about having a romantic subplot in this one. Maybe later on it'll come to me, but nothing's coming to mind right now. There's good old uplifting themes. Okay. So thank you. Here's the premise for my story. Oh, no, looks like I copied that prompt. I could start asking it questions, but again, I want that broader aspect because more than likely, and if you've played around with AI, you know this isn't always the case because sometimes it just gives you some things, and then other times it gives you something that's just in a completely different output and format and all that. But I'm going to be broad here. I'm not going to ask it specifically anything because I wanted, again, to give me a sort of ideas of what else I can do and what else I would need for this story.
Really likes to praise us when we use it. That's amazing. My God, that's the smartest thing that's ever been typed into me before.
Yeah. And I try to be nice if I don't like something from it. And I'll say, I don't really like that. And he's like, oh, I'm so sorry.
I always write thank you at the end.
Yeah. I've even told it good night, like, especially if I'm working with it, in the evening a lot for a while, a couple hours or so. When I'm done, I'll say, it'll ask you, of course, is there anything else I can help you with or something along those lines? And I'll say, no, thank you. Have a good night. Oh, okay.
That's very good.
It likes our premise, intertwining of two very different lives. Okay, so it's giving us some suggestions and elements to consider. this is the part where I would start telling it things like, okay, I like this, I don't like that. And as I'm reading through, I may get an additional idea and say, oh, here's an idea too. So this is where you really start going back and forth. This is honestly my favorite part of writing, is treating ChatGPT as if it was a friend I was talking to or a writing partner or something. And we just start bouncing ideas back and forth. Let's see, we got the contrasting backgrounds. This is a crucial thing I think I actually want to start with, because I don't know on that one. Okay, so I like all of these, except I'm going to tell it I don't really want I'm just going to give the numbers for the list. Oh, I thought that was in that one. I don't really care about 5 and 7. Is everybody starting their story, or is everybody kind of just watching me?
Watching you.
I am totally watching
Starting
you.
it. I'm in ChatGPT too, and I'm just like prompting it to be like, okay, give me some more ideas, give me like some character arc, give me some
Perfect.
locations.
How
Do
many
you
of you
think-
are using the same story? Is anybody using this story, or did
That's what I
everybody
was
put
just
their
gonna ask.
Same story with a little bit of a change. I changed the genders on one of the characters.
Oh, awesome. You plan on making them like a love interest thing, or you don't know yet?
I don't know. We'll see what ChatGPT tells me.
Good deal. All right, so we have the list that we do like. So I'm just going to kind of tell it. Great. Flesh these out for my story
Where are you saying that?
right here. So I'm just talking, so it gave me that list, you know, it removed the ones I didn't care for. It gave me this list of things to include, and I just asked it to flesh it out for me. So now it's going to start giving me specific ideas for those little sections. And again, I will go back and forth with it and say what I like or don't like. Does that make sense? Because all I'm doing right now, again, this wasn't a story that I had in my mind where I knew the beginning, middle, end, and all of that. It's just a story starter. I didn't have a clue how I wanted it. So instead of just throwing it in brain dump, using up a lot of words, going back and forth, editing, I'm coming here to brainstorm and use my good friend.
I'm a little confused about why you go to this first rather than directly to Sudowrite, other than not using up your words. Is that the main thing? Because it looks like you're getting some similar.
Right. So yeah, because Sudowrite uses ChatGPT, so it'll be similar.
Oh,
But here I can read through all of these ideas. Again, I'm not worried about my words, but it also just allows me to delve into some different aspects. So when I went and if I were to put that in my brain dump and just go straight to synopsis, I wouldn't have had all of these things to think about, you know, and to know that I needed to have all of this. I mean, I know this kind of stuff because I like fantasy, but let's say I was a new writer, brand new writer, or I wanted to venture into a different genre. So coming here just helps me.
Sudowrite wouldn't give you that.
You could probably take it maybe into first draft, but again, you're going to be using up a lot of words going back and forth. Miss Lynn might have a different perspective on that. There was a chat feature that they were going to bring out. I'm not sure what happened to it yet when we got the new Story Bible interface, that the ability for us to access that feature went away. So I don't know if they're bringing it back, if it got put on the back burner or what. But eventually there might be a way that we're right there in Sudowrite and can start kind of doing this conversation right there. But here right now, I can just go in, see what it has, get those ideas, and start refining everything.
Yeah, I think Brainstorm uses Chat 3.5, and Nicole here is using Chat 4.
Let's see, I like this. She's got unmatched skills with a sling. Skilled diplomat. So we see this could definitely be stronger. So now at the same time, all of a sudden, now we're going into, as we're plotting our story, we also know we need to pump up Elara's description and motivations and everything. You can use Claude too if you want. Claude doesn't like me, and so I don't like it. So Claude's always telling me, to sum it up, it tells me I need mental help and to start writing better things. But yeah, you can definitely use that. Use whatever method you prefer.
That's kind of a counterintuitive way for an AI to get you to use it.
I think he would rather not. I think he would rather me not be there. All right. So
Really? I didn't know Claude was a club.
So Nicole, I'm using your story prompt and it gave me a runaway princess too. And so I just told it, I don't want a runaway princess. So it had to rewrite that section.
I like the idea because I'm thinking it hasn't taken root in my head. I have this like spark of an idea of something, but it's nothing solid yet. I know I'm not making sense. I'm sorry, y'all. But I'm keeping it because it did prompt a little spark in my imagination. I just haven't, finessed it, and it hasn't quite taken shape yet. Excuse me.
I've started about a dozen different stories in Sudowrite, and usually the brain dump is about 400 words or so. By using your technique, going through Sudowrite, or not going through ChatGPT and say, hey, give me some subplots, hey, give me some themes, give me some character arcs. I've got it up to 1900 words now. So that's the first time I've ever gotten brain dumped that long.
Good deal. Yeah, and I'm not going to go through this as detailed as I would because I don't want y'all to just spend this whole hour watching me in here. I'm probably just going to do this time, and then I'll put the final version into BrainDump. So I'm just going to come through here and tell it again as I go through my list. And this is what I normally do several times until I have everything perfect. So I will tell it, I always started off, here are my thoughts. And then at this point, I start going through the list with numbers. So I'll tell it, I like Lena's background. I had to think a minute for what it was actually telling me, talking to me about. And I'll say, I think Laura needs a stronger motivation for being a runaway princess. And I will delve into my thoughts on that with it, just so it understands why I'm thinking that. So Elara yearning for a life outside the palace walls. And her suffocating expectations. Of her role is a very cliche. I'm just going to say trope. I'm not sure if that's the right word, but I'm going to go with trope. As you can see, I am definitely not an expert prompter. I just have a conversation with it. And there's many times I'll say, oh, I'm sorry, I worded that wrong. All right, so this is kind of where that spark of an idea is coming in, and maybe I can put it here and chat might be able to help me to define it. So I'm thinking the story might reveal a secret about Ilara later on. And I'll go ahead and tell it, please give me some ideas of what this secret could be. And if I'm annoying y'all by reading it out loud, let me know.
No.
I know it normally gets on my nerves, but I think some people like it. So I'm trying to help everyone.
I like it. Read it out loud.
Okay. So again, you can see how I told it what I liked, what I didn't like, and then some additional thoughts I had. And I was even able to prompt it to, hey, I want some ideas for this thought right here. Power grants her ability to command elements. I love that. Oh, don't know what I did there. So I like Lena's abilities here. I like Lena's abilities. However, I think we can make her motivation stronger, or at least include a second motivation. For using her powers. And she gains the ability to communicate and influence creatures. Ilara's ability is good. But again, I think we need to make her motivation stronger, and perhaps this can tie in to the secret that's later revealed. When you're working in ChatGPT too, I don't know how Claude is, since it doesn't like me and doesn't let me work in it. But if you're working in ChatGPT, you need to go to another line. If you just press enter, it's going to send it. So hold down shift and press enter.
Thank you.
Claude is the same.
Oh, it is? Claude is the same? Okay. I'm happy Claude lets y'all work inside him.
Yeah, Claude and I are buds.
Rub it in, why don't you? And what really sucks, y'all, is I prefer Best Pros inside Sudowrite, which is Claude. I hate that he won't let me work with him outside of it. But anyways. Okay,
He's
so
got your number.
The first encounter is fraught with tension. This is okay. Can we have more conflict? And I'll give it a suggestion. I'm thinking maybe Lena and Ilara had a previous encounter that didn't go well. The dragons, ancient guardians of the realm, long been disenchanted. Ooh, okay. So for 4, I like this, but I want 2 different dragons to mentor each girl, so that I'm not wording this correctly. I want the elder dragon to mentor one of the girls and another dragon. I'm just going to tell it, I don't care if it's an elder or not.
Recognize brackets like that?
It should. I mean,
No, I
I've
mean
always
as
used it before.
commands.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is just as if I was writing, an actual story, the grammar, I know when I write stuff like this and want to insert a thought, I put it in parentheses. That's the way I normally write.
Okay, the only reason why I asked that was I thought it was something like the command structure in Sudowrite.
Not
So-
really. No, sir. Just my normal writing here. Okay, another dragon. I don't care if it's younger or elder to mentor the other girl. I'm just going to say this is good for 5. I don't have any preference one way or the other. Ancient scroll in the palace library speaks of a time when the realm will be split in twain, yet mended by dual hearts. I like that. So actually, I'm going to say I like the scroll saying of split in twain. And I'm going to do this because I want to know that I definitely like that. I don't want to risk it not including it later on as we keep refining it.
But it will do that outside of a romantic setting, which you took out of the instructions.
We'll do what? What do you mean?
Well, when you took out 7 in the original, you took out a romance,
Mm-hmm.
the chance of a romance. And so when you talk about hearts and things like that, is it interpreting that you want some kind of romance to go on?
That's not how I'm interpreting it. So if
Oh,
it
okay.
does start to go that way, I can just guide it away from it. But to me, it just means like 2 individuals, 2 actual hearts.
Perfectamundo.
Okay, scholars have always been puzzled by its meaning. Oh, okay, I like this. Okay. I'm just going to start off. This is really good. And I'm just going to reinforce, please keep it all. And again, reinforcing that I like that one little saying right there. And the last one here. So as the kingdom teeters on the edge of rebellion, Lena and Laura must combine their powers. Well, that was anticlimactic, wasn't it? Okay. So that's what we're going to say. This is good, but anticlimactic. I need a real battle or some major climax. Okay, that's good. So what it gives me here, I'm just going to go ahead and take into brain dump. Any questions on any of this before we hop back into Sudowrite? How's everybody coming with their brain dump that's working in it?
I started playing around with synopsis and characters a little bit, so I'm a little ahead of everyone.
Okay, so I'm just going to copy this over into my brain dump right here.
Yeah, I'm just following what you're doing here. I'm not trying to do it on my own system.
Yeah, me too.
I'm not going to copy all of this like individual stuff. At the end of the chat, I will copy the direct link so y'all can view it all. Does anybody need this? Actually, I'll go ahead and do it anyways. Because I said I would.
When you do your videos and you say you post these videos, do you also post links that you use during the videos, like in the description?
I usually post my like document links and stuff like that. Is that what you mean? Or like these ChatGPT links?
No, the document links. That's great.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I usually post those. And you could always message me, if something happens, if you don't get it for whatever reason.
Okay, please call me Ian. You keep calling me sir. I'm gonna start calling you ma'am.
That's fine. I mean, it's
And I'm
it's
gonna
manners.
do it like I'm Foghorn Leghorn.
You can't break her of that.
I can't. I'm from Louisiana. I was raised to have respect for people, okay, and use my manners. It's even my kids. This day and age, my kids will still use their manners, Please, thank
That's
you.
good.
Yes, sir, yes, ma'am. I am going to go ahead and leave this in here. I like it. But I normally have I say normally, I actually just started using this. Going to my workflows and tips thing here. I started using this little prompt. I can't say that's made a huge difference, but I'm going to put it in here and play
I
around
noticed
with it.
that too. That when you gave that to us yesterday, I used it in the brain dump, and I used it at the bottom of the brain dump though, because I thought that you're supposed to enter it at the bottom because it's a maiden command at that point.
And I'm going to go ahead and tell it now. So remember, your synopsis, which is what we're going to generate next, only comes from the brain dump. So it's not looking at your genre. It has no clue this is a young adult fantasy. So I'm going to go ahead and tell it that. This is a young adult fantasy novel. And I'm just putting the brackets around it. It doesn't really make a difference on this part. I honestly don't know enough to tell you for sure if it makes a difference around these instructions. Miss Lynn might know better, but for me, it's habit. If I'm giving it instructions, I'm going to put these square brackets around. If I'm giving it information that it needs to know for the story, but I don't want it to write, I'm going to put it in parentheses. Whether or not it makes a difference to the AI, it helps me. So I can easily look at something and I see square brackets and I know, oh, okay, I had instructions here. So I know if some wording's off, if maybe some style is off, I can look for these square brackets somewhere and, easily find it and start changing up some words versus having to read through all of this stuff that didn't have any symbols around it. You can use whatever style you want, but actually I will show you what I do right after we get this going. Actually, I can do it right now.
It doesn't matter at this point what you put, how you set off instructions.
Okay. I'm just going to go through it because we did ask for suggestions. Let's see. There's our story premise. And just because that's getting on my nerves, I'm going to put some space there. Okay, so perhaps she discovers and I like that because that's kind of where my mind was going. Well, not that part, but I was thinking maybe she wasn't actual princess and discovered that. Good. So, hey, for once we're in sync. And that's kind of lame, but I would have to actually think on that of how I wanted it to play out. Okay, so I'm leaving all that there. That's okay. I really like that. Okay, that's good. Before the events of the story, Lena once ventured to the city to protest the excessive taxes. During the peaceful protest, things escalated, and Elara, in her capacity as a princess, had to make a public decision. She chose a solution that, while diplomatic, didn't favor Lena's village. Resulted in not great, but again, I don't have another idea, so Maybe it'll come to me tonight and I'll be able to fix it tomorrow. Elder Dragon acts as a mentor to Lena. Younger impulsive dragon, perfect. Takes a liking to Ilara. I like it. Oh, it didn't give us our internal conflicts. Let me go back. Internal conflicts was and we needed the prophecy too. Looming civil unrest culminates in an actual rebellion. Oh, I like that. Okay. What do y'all think so far, just from this brain dump, going from that little story premise to fleshing this out? Do you think we had more success going into ChatGPT, going back and forth with some ideas before bringing it here?
Yeah, definitely that is that is a great tool to use to be able to flesh out your story.
If you're writing in German, let's see. Okay, so for German or for other languages, the only thing I've done that worked was whenever I was ready to do my chapter stuff, I would put a header above my beats and say write in whatever language I wanted. Some people have put it in the style and had success. So I would try one or both of those. And let me know if that works for you or doesn't. And we can get, is Mana still here? Oh, she's in the breakout room, huh? Mana writes in French, so she can tell you where she puts her instructions.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Climax sees a grand battle with the elements controlled by Lena clash against the very creatures of the kingdom. Well, now, this is a little off-putting, like suddenly he has dark magic. I don't know. Again, I'll probably flesh that out later after I read the synopsis and go back and forth there. Okay, Laura communicates with the creatures, tries to free them from the dark influence. Okay, and I'm just going to go ahead and leave this here. It might throw in a little bit more elements for us. So what somebody had asked about style. So the first thing you can do just to get a start on the style is you can actually take this into ChatGPT again. And I'm going to say, here is everything I know about my story. Oh, actually, I need to say my young adult novel or story, whichever. But I want to put that genre in there. So here's everything I know about my young adult novel. And I'm just going to copy in my brain dump. I did learn from Elizabeth Ann West to put these asterisks to kind of help separate from information to command. And let's see. I'm just going to come here. Y'all do have access to all this. If somebody came in late and didn't get these links, let me know. It's in the right one, but I can make it work. So I'm just going to ask it to fill this out for me. So please fill out this template accordingly. I'll copy that template right there. Okay. While that's going, I will grab those links for you. So that's all of this right here. I have this where I'm putting everything in, so I can share this again at the end of class, and y'all have the updated version if y'all want it for whatever reason. And if somebody will remind me to copy the chat link too for y'all. So this is a good, I use the template again once I do my outline, and I ask chat to actually do it per chapter. But this is a good overall start. So I can get my synopsis and outline started using these, because remember, synopsis just looks at brain dump. That's why we put the genre in there. But your outline is actually affected by your genre. So that's why we want to put things in there, because I'm not just putting this young adult fantasy. You're going to see I actually put these other things in here, whatever. I'm not going to copy and paste everything, but whatever I do agree with will go into my genre as well. So this all affects my outline, which is why I want to do this overall portion first to get things started. We had this already. I'm not saying I care too much for the themes, but I do like the tropes. Again, remember, y'all hear me say it all the time, but I cannot state it enough. Your last words in both the genre and style have the most effect on your prose. And always make sure you're changing up your style with each chapter as you need to. You know, you don't need your romantic elements in a horror story if you're doing a gruesome scene. So always change things out. A lot of times when people are saying, hey, you know, this prose doesn't come out, it's not following things, a lot of times it's because they have something here in one of these boxes that's telling it to write the story a certain way. Even though their beats look good, the beats are following the story. Something in your style is telling those beats to write things a certain way, which typically throws a lot of it off.
So you suggest changing the genre and style box based on chapter?
Yes, ma'am, or as needed.
Okay.
I mean, if a lot of your
Okay.
chapters are the same, it's okay. And that's why I do that prompt later on, the same template prompt, and ask it to do it per chapter, because it's an easy reference for me. We got tone and mood, subgenres. I think that will keep it. If you ever run out of room, remember, you can always put a hyphen in between two words and it counts it as one word. We're actually doing pretty good on words. Got room. I'm going to use this one. I don't know if I want to use rebellion or not. I'll use rebellion just so while we do the outline, and then I'll probably take it out. And that was themes, correct? Yeah. So themes of power. I don't want that self-discovery because it tends to lend to cliche stuff. And we all know the AI does that anyways. So themes of power, unity, rebellion. And again, I'll probably take that rebellion out later on. So style. Y'all speak up if y'all need any of this too. Here, let me go ahead and copy the genre to y'all if y'all want that. Third person limited. No, I prefer third person omniscient. I know that's not most popular, but that's what I like. So we do third person past tense.
I'm sorry, just to back it up a little bit. Did you use character names in the brain dump?
I actually did not change anything in the brain dump yet. It looks pretty good. Are you asking if I just changed their names like in general, or are you asking if I got rid of the pronouns?
I was wondering if I should put the characters in my name dump too, and I realized I probably will.
Oh, okay.
It'll also make getting rid of pronouns a lot easier.
So we have this would actually go more into my character box. But I'm going to show y'all this. Ryan hates it when I do this, but I'm going to show it to y'all. Every once in a while, it's fun to give Story Engine and Sudowrite a hard time, you know, because it gives us a hard time sometimes. And Miss Lynn's probably rolling her eyes at me and fussing at me in her head. Nicole.
Would I do that? I would not.
Deep introspection. I don't care for that. Dual chosen ones, I like that. Let's go for it. Ooh, this is gonna be a long one. So we're at 7 words. Let's see if we can fit it. All right. Here we go.
Nicole,
Uh-huh.
if you put like how you said the dialogue style, direct and character driven,
Mm-hmm.
so will it pull from your characters to write the dialogue? Will
Yes,
it do that and connect this with it?
correct. That's why I usually put ask for speaking style and dialogue style for my characters.
Okay, thanks.
Yesterday, I used that match my style box and I started writing into it, and it gave me actually just an interesting outline of what my writing style was for that type of book, which is like they're saying colloquial dialogue with unique tags.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you want your own voice in the prose, you can also do that too, right?
Yeah, if you have, especially if you have your writing to put into it, when I use Match My Style, I actually just use my chapter summary for whatever chapter I'm on, because that's a combination I do. I will do this template, plus I have words that I know I like to use pretty much in all my stories. And then when I use Match My Style, I just throw in that chapter summary from the outline in Match My Style, and it works great for me. I like it that way. But definitely, if you have some writing that fits with this story as well that you're doing,
Yeah.
go ahead and put that in there.
I'm curious, so you do this for every chapter, like you go through these boxes for every chapter that you write in order to get the proper tone?
I try
Or
to.
the
I'm
proper
not great
prose?
at it, but again, that's why I started using this template, and I'll ask Chat to do those chapters for me ahead of time so I can easily reference and pick and choose what I want.
Okay, I was just trying to figure out the number of projects. Like, let's say I had a 12 chapter book, maybe I'm setting up 12 projects because you can, like, I didn't know you could change multiply the style and the synopsis, for instance. Or sorry, the style and the box just above it.
Like this, but I don't think it's going to carry this over. That'll be too much, I think. So varied sentence structure.
It didn't give it to you, but is this a hero's journey?
Oh, I haven't done any of that yet.
Okay. Okay. Just checking.
But actually it would, yeah, I would do it as a hero's journey for the outline.
Yeah, when I was doing it today in ChatGPT, I just asked what story structure the story would fit into, and it gave me Hero's Journey.
Yeah, most of the fantasies are hero's journey or heroine's journey.
I was just interested that ChatGPT will give you those recommendations.
I actually like these, and this is when I need my style box to be bigger so I can put all of this in there. Varied sentence structure, vivid imagery. Here we go. And dragon encounters. And this would be something I would definitely do for like per chapter. So if I know I have an action scene, well, here's a good style for me to change things up to right here. And this one as well. So that's why I like doing this overall one, because it usually gives me something a little bit different from the others when I ask it per chapter. All right. So that is the style. And we're going to go ahead and generate the synopsis. So we have genre and style filled out. We have all the brain dump. And remember, I have telling it that it's a young adult fantasy and some little guidance up there. Generate that. And I will get these things done for y'all. Go ahead, Don.
Yeah, will you be updating the documents on all 4 sessions?
Probably not once we get the main boxes done. Like once we get these little starter boxes done, you know, the character through outline, that's probably where I'll stop updating the docs. Because by then, I mean, it can go in any direction that y'all want to take it. If somebody actually wanted it, I would put it in there for y'all. But by that point, everybody kind of wants to take the story in their own little direction.
Okay, good, thanks.
You're welcome. All right, so we gotta make sure it finished. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put my prompts in here before I wrong one. So this prompt I put in my synopsis box. And it tells it how I want my outline to be formatted in. And it tells it what I want for my character descriptions. There's actually a bug right now to where it's not coming out. This prompt worked great for a while, but you will see it's likely not going to finish my character box with all of this information. It just hasn't been working for the past month or two. So they are looking into that. Brian said he has a theory. He's testing it out. All right, let's go. Got my prompts in there. So again, this is where we're going to start checking. I didn't give y'all the synopsis. Oh, I'll wait till I edit. Then I'll give y'all the synopsis in there. Once every 1,000 years, the skies darken. Ancient dragons imbue immortal with their power. Okay, there's our little premise. I have to say I'm not really crazy about this. Well, let's see what the difference would be. So again, we'll give chat our actually I can just tell it because it already has this information. Please give me an extended synopsis for the story. I want to compare this real quick. Yeah, I like this synopsis better. Bad thing is I asked for extended synopsis. So that typically gives me about 600 words, which isn't going to leave room for my prompt, but oh well. Yeah, this is better. I'm not sure what happened here in this synopsis. It just kind of jumped and missed the opening. It's a lot of words. I'm not going to put that in there. Let's see how many words this is. 4:58. Okay, we're good. I think. Okay. So I have the synopsis done with my prompt to write the characters and outline a certain way. So I'm going to go ahead and generate the characters. Any questions so far? Anybody having any difficulties with their boxes? So we'll see. Let's check out the characters real quick. Spirited peasant girl in her late teens. I think I'm going to take this unwavering out because my luck, it'll show up everywhere and we can see how it stopped again. So it didn't finish my minor characters and it's been stopping right around there. 500 something words is how it's been stopping. Bright green eyes, that will carry over into every time she's described. I'm going to remove that and remove unwavering. Exudes of fire. I don't care for that, but we'll see. Something I learned recently from Mindy too. Normally, whenever I do my character box, I just leave it there because I have my character arcs and all that inside my brain dump and outline. But what she says she did is after the first chapter gets generated, she starts removing the descriptions. Because, of course, you don't need those described in every chapter, right? So she starts removing those and keeps from bringing that into the prose all the time.
Oh, so she deletes the character descriptions from characters she doesn't.
Right, the
Doesn't want them
physical
used.
descriptions. Yeah,
Huh.
the physical descriptions.
The
So,
physical,
it'll
okay.
no longer be talking about her green eyes, her wild chestnut hair, all of that. Courageous, stubborn, has a strong moral compass, but she can be impulsive and naive. Enneagram type 8, hero. She speaks passionately and directly with a hint of impatience. I like that. Don't care for this. Just going to take that out right there. Princess. So this right here is something we would have to reword. I'm going to need to think on that a little bit, but if we leave this right here, it's immediately going to start putting that in for the description instead of all of a sudden her discovering it or us finding out later in the story. As long as it's right here, it's going to mention that whenever it talks about her character.
So I have a character that's going to have a little mini secret and stuff. I should not put that in the characters box.
I would not do.
Okay.
There's a good chance it'll be talked about in every chapter.
Okay.
Now, of course, whenever you got to that chapter, you could throw it in there. And that is something I do. Let me, for those who don't have
What
it.
about, I'm trying to go for a short story. So I'm using the story circle, and I was going to try doing that thing where you take the entire outline and try and put it as the chapter beats. So it's like a single story. Would you include it in that case?
I wouldn't. I would put it more like in the beats then in that case.
Okay, put it in the beats. Put the secret in the beats.
Okay, so she's an elegant and composed young woman with a secret that, see, I mean, that's all it really needs to say is right here. I'll leave the age in. Actually, I'll leave in. I'm going to just take out adopted as the heir to the throne in her early 20s. There we go. That's good. Raven,
Let
black
you put
hair.
in the minor
Always.
characters?
I'm sorry, say that again.
Does this let you put in the minor character, like extend the characters to include more minor characters?
Yeah, and that's what my prompt did. And like I said, it worked a couple months ago. Something's going on. It hasn't been working lately. but it normally gives me, because my prompt asks specifically for the 10 minor characters using the popular archetypes and an extended setting location for the story. And it used to give me that. I'm really wanting it back.
And I apologize to the last woman that I just interrupted. You should please go ahead.
Okay, so yeah, we saw the raven black hair, piercing blue eyes. You want to take that out unless you like that sort of thing. She commands attention wherever she goes. She's intelligent and dutiful. Represents the seeker archetype. She speaks carefully and eloquently, often choosing her words to avoid conflict. And we have room. And I believe there was something here. Yeah. Where was it? Lena speaks plainly and passionately. It might already be worded that way, but I'm going to put it here and compare. Let's see. Passionately and directly. Yep, that works. And what was Elara's? I actually like ChatGPT's phrasing of it better. So Laura speaks more formal, reflective of a royal upbringing. I'll put that in there. And something you can do as well, like especially in romances when you want characters to interact more with each other, I've put in a character description, so-and-so calls the other character a certain nickname or something like that. In here, since we know she's going to, it looked like Chat was planning for these two to be love interests, Laura and Draken right here. I could actually say something like, Draken gets on her Elara's nerves and she's always snapping at him. Let's try that. Let's see how well it carries over. Elara's Elara's eloquent speech falters around Draken, who this isn't worded right, but I'm just going to put it in there until I think of the correct wording. Lara's eloquent speech falters around Draken. Miss Lynn, Chris, I can always depend on you. Draken irritates her, so.
Sorry, what was it? What was the question? I'm so sorry. I was so wrapped up in writing.
Keep writing, go for it. I'm going to figure out my wording here.
Oh, if there was a question that you had, I'm happy to try.
Oh, I'm just trying to figure out this wording. Laura's eloquent speech falters around Draken, who irritates her, causing her to often.
Are you looking for a word there? Causing her to often.
Often be snarky. Let's get. You gave me that to that last time. Let's go with it.
Okay, snarky works.
Often be snarky with him. What's that, ma'am?
I said snarky works.
Yes.
Always gonna have the snarky characters, right?
We love the snark.
Hi, Amanda.
Or it could also cause her to be short, you know what I mean? Or yeah, something like that.
All right, we got the Elder Dragon, wise and ancient dragon with shimmering silver scales. I'll actually leave that, especially for the first chapter. Serves as a mentor to Lena. Patient, knowledgeable, and cautious, but can be cryptic, as all elders are in stories, it seems. He's an investigator, mentor, slow, soothing cadence. I'll leave it. Okay. Young and impulsive with vibrant red scales. Speaking styles energetic and impulsive with a tendency to enter. I like that. Hopefully it carries over. So yeah, so the way this didn't finish out, I could actually say I'm going to give it this. I'm just going to go into chat with it instead of taking all the time to figure it out. So I'm just going to ask chat to give me my minor characters and stuff right here. I probably won't be able to fit it all, but that is another way you can do things. Since I know for a fact that it's not working inside Sudowrite right now, whether I put it in my synopsis box and prompt it, or whether I put it in the rewrite, which I did try earlier today, it's just not finishing. Bye, Sharon.
Hopefully they fix that soon.
Is there in the meantime a notepad you can add that to in the project?
I could take it into make a little blank doc over here and paste everything in.
Okay.
Let's see. I at least want the settings. Let's see if I can put all this in there though. Woo! 515 words. That is not going in, I don't believe. Because this would have to be. So it's not going to fit everything in there, so I'm just going to put the extended settings list at least. Okay. And again, I have the prompt in my synopsis, and it's going to tell it how to format my outline. Now we are almost 30 minutes over. Do y'all want to stop here at this point, or do y'all want to stop after we generate the outline? It's up to y'all. Majority rules.
Let's hold off till tomorrow.
Press.
Generate is winning in the
I
chat.
want to generate. Generate.
I'll do whatever I'm told.
I think my question would be, once you generate, what do you do? Because it looks like to me like you don't just hit a button and stop.
So for this session, I would generate the outline and then read through that outline and make whatever changes I need to do. Then I would also put my prompts. Actually, it's probably better if we stop right here. And then tomorrow we can start doing outline and then jump into beats and prose.
Oh yeah, I love a cliffhanger.
I'm sorry, y'all. I'm just trying to think about how to. I think this would be a good stopping point, because that way we can spend a good bit of time tomorrow and just work on editing the outline, getting it refined, and then showing you the prompt in ChatGPT to bring in those styles per chapter and run right into beats and prose. And then the next 2 days, we can focus on refining the output, trying to find the trouble spots and everything else. Does that sound good?
I think I think that's great. I've taken a lot from this particular class. I'm looking for the other three.
Okay, I am going to go ahead and copy the chat link in that doc in case anybody needs it. As we update the chat, I will have to delete the original link because it won't let me create a new one with the old one there. Oh, this was something I wanted to show y'all too. So this is what we always talk about when we say you have to use your writing skills and thinking skills with AI. So in these two orange ones, what do y'all see wrong with that? With either of these? Let me scroll here. I'll type while y'all look at that.
That something is going to be different in every chapter. For number 5, found something beneath the surface. Is that what you were thinking?
That is not what I'm thinking, but that is a good point.
I'm saying there's a lot of pronouns.
There's a Marianne in there.
So think about this. If you're a writer, or if you're a reader, really, this is when it would come to me, it would come in play for the readers. If a place has been silent for decades, why is a rescue team just now going?
Something's going on.
To me, that would be, you would definitely want to change that. So that's just something to keep out for, to watch out right away. In this one right here, it tells you every letter sent to her lover during the war returned unopened. But yet 50 years later, a package arrived with all of them. So, I mean, which is it? So make sure you double check, because they sound good, but, looking at it as a reader, especially, look, I don't mean to put anybody down, but a lot of people come into Sudowrite especially thinking, you know what, they're just going to push some buttons. Whatever comes out, they're going to publish it. Can you imagine if we put this story in, didn't check any of the output, and just publish that? Let's just pretend that, the prose came out perfect and everything. With this concept, it still would not make sense to your reader. So just something to look out for. Go ahead, JC.
But for number 5, I would just say there was a nuclear war and that's why it took so long. And number 6, it's a white wizard.
For number 5, I would have said the rescue team got lost
for a long time.
So they're rescuing the rescue team? That's cool.
I was figuring that, it's some like end of the world thing, so that's what I was thinking.
JC, you had a question?
Yeah, in some of the classes, they talk about working, left to right and then going back and working right to left. Now that we've generated synopsis and characters and things, going back in and getting more detailed. Do you do that or recommend doing that?
So that's kind of what we're going to do for this session.
Okay.
And I tend to just do that on a as needed basis in my normal stories when it's just me. But I like to generate all of this, and then I like to make one final read through from beginning to the end of the outline, making sure I don't, didn't overlook anything. And then as I need to, just go back and refine things.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. I think I needed to share this with y'all again. I keep clicking in the wrong thing. Swear y'all, it doesn't take me that long to find the link. I don't think y'all can see it, but I have to move all these boxes out of my way. All right, so here's that link again, just with the new stuff that we put down here. So you now have this story starter prompts that links to the other work that we did.
You have to update Notion every time before you share it? Or you have to share it every time after you updated it?
Well, if you open up, like at the start of a class, like let's say at the start of this class, you just opened up the Notion link that I gave you. You didn't duplicate it because that's how you save it to your thing, is you duplicate it. But let's just say you opened up the link, didn't do anything else with it. At the end of class, when I said, okay, we're done, if you just click refresh, it would refresh on your end.
Oh, okay, great. Because I was like, I know I downloaded some stuff like, the beginning of a class and didn't do it later or had to go or something. And I was like, okay, just wondering.
Does anybody need anything else from these links or anything like that before I close it out? Any questions? Did anybody have any issues in the boxes that they work on today? Was it progress? Was this a very disappointing class?
I thought it was interesting because we got to see your process, from the very beginning.
Yeah. And normally it would be more detailed. I'd say, thinking about it, I'm not exaggerating. I spend probably 2 hours on my brain dump and synopsis, which I actually did not show y'all, but I have a video on my YouTube channel right here that has, I think it's called, what is it called? It's something about my Sudowrite process or something like that. This one right here, the one that has the robot hand with the brain looking thing, says Sudowrite Roundtable. that actually shows you what I usually do with my brain dump and synopsis. Here, I'll plug just in case anybody wants it. You don't have to bother going there and finding it. Because I normally spend about 2 hours refining my brain dump and my synopsis, making sure everything lines up with each other. And then I would say, yeah, the rest is pretty quick, especially in comparison with that 2 hours I spent on the first 2 boxes. And then the next spot would be I'd say the beats is the next spot where I'd spend most of my time. So obviously here, trying to put everything in this hour and a half, it goes faster. For instance, I would have spent more time in ChatGPT before I actually started this story, making sure I had every detail the way I wanted it, or at least as close as I could think of at the moment, and then put it in there. So yeah, so y'all have a nice little concise overview of everything. All right, well, thank y'all again for attending with me today. If you did not register, I noticed this session had a lot of registrants that did not match the other sessions. So you will need to register for them to get the Zoom link if y'all want to attend the other classes. There you go.
Don't close out until we get the people out of the breakout rooms. I think Manon's the only one in there.
How do you duplicate your page, your Notion page?
Sorry, somebody asked me that. Which one was it you needed me to duplicate? Writing Magic. Thank you for coming, Madeline. And Lakia.
So the 4-day series curriculum, I can't duplicate it into my Notion.
Okay.
I think you have to toggle that on.
Yeah, I just left it off since we still had stuff to put in there, but I will turn it on.
Gotcha.
There we go. Let me refresh just to make sure. You should have it now. You asked how to duplicate, Chalet? I don't have anything to duplicate, but normally.
I just wanted to be able to get it, I couldn't download it or anything or put it in my Notion.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so now you can, since the duplicate is turned on. And Notion is free for anybody worried about that. There is a paid version. I don't use it. I just use the free, and I like how I can start organizing, because if y'all have seen my Google Docs, they are a mess. Jen always picks on me. Just document after document that I'm having to share, versus Notion helps me organize, and I can put a bunch of different documents and you don't have to scroll down a mile to see it all. So, all righty, everyone. Well, thank y'all for coming, and I will see y'all tomorrow, hopefully.
You have to give us a minute.
I'm going to stop the recording right quick, and then I will stop sharing.